Hi, this is Kel McCutcheon, and you're watching Pastor Turned Up here on Facebook Live. Today we are joined by Joe, and we're listening to Help Desk with Joe. This is show number 26, and we are going live. This is Kel McCutcheon with Pastor Turned Up Studio here in Spencer, West Virginia. You're listening to Help Desk with Joe. This is show number 26 and episode 48 with our podcast series. Make sure to tune in for more podcasts, information, and music. Thank you for tuning in.
There we go. All right, what an intro. You can tell it's a Wednesday here, Wednesday morning. So welcome to Help Desk with Joe, and with me as always in the studio live, Joe.
We're back for another week.
Yeah. So, Kel, what camera's on here? Just so I know which way to point when I'm pointing. Okay, all right, good deal. Good to see you. Glad you're joining us here if you're doing Facebook Live. I'm here, Joe's here, and we got a good show for you today. And Joe, you always bring in some good news stories looking to help consumers out, help our local community, help people out that need to get tech savvy like myself. It's always an adventure. And some days I feel bad for you because I know you're giving out information that people like me are knuckleheads. And we're just like, oh, okay, that's how that works or why that's important. So I'm sure there's some uphill battles on your end, but on the other side of it, too, you're helping a lot of people out and helping out businesses and organizations. So good stuff across the board. How's it been going with you lately, technologically, I guess, doing your technology job in the midst of all the COVID and stuff like that?
I tell you, Dave, it's kind of funny how things were going at the beginning of the year before COVID hit. I mean, we was busy as all get out. I mean, business was booming, and then when everything started shutting down, we didn't shut down because our business was listed as, mission critical or whatever.
Yeah, you're essential. You do a lot of work with our local organizations, our municipalities, voting, stuff like that. So you guys cover a broad gamut.
But I mean, we didn't shut down, but we noticed a huge drop in business, and there was about 2 or 3 days where it was starting to get a little dicey because there was literally no work coming in, no calls coming in. But I tell you, as things have started to open back up, we're back just as busy as we was before. But we as A&M Digital Technologies have, at the very beginning, we started putting things in place to protect ourselves, protect our customers, and then that is continuously evolving as we go along.
Yeah, and I know you did, in the midst of it, you did some remote work for us because we had our offices closed down, so you were really good about doing remote work and making things happen, which is nice. We talked about that previously on some shows. That saves us trouble, saves you trouble. A little bit more of a headache as I try to tell you what's wrong rather than you seeing it for yourself.
Right.
But otherwise, you made it work, so that's good stuff. So if you run into problems, remember A&M Digital Technologies there for you, Joe and Cena. They'll make it work. So part of dealing with the business in these times. So glad you guys are doing good. And so let's get on. Let's get on with the show here. So news update number 1. You have some news for us about YouTube. And you've talked about YouTube a couple of times. I'm looking back, I see YouTube again, but I remember we talked about their streaming services, YouTube TV maybe?
Yes.
Okay. So what's YouTube's news update today?
Okay, so YouTube is going to start offering 100 kids, movies, and specials for free on their website. So over the next month until August 31st, YouTube Kids, which is available through the YouTube Kids app, which is absolutely free, it's going to release over 100 movies and specials as part of the platform's after-school experience project.
Ooh, tying it into our after-school deal. That's interesting to me because we do after-school programs. And YouTube Kids movies. That's interesting. How's that tied? Did it say how it ties to after-school?
I think they're going to, the way they're tying it in is, when we was kids, you come home from school, you have the after-school specials and stuff like that. I think
PBS and stuff.
Yeah, that's how they're going to run into it. This new section is going to include Tayo the Little Bus, Baby Shark and Pink Fong, The Wiggles, Masha and the Bear, Augie and the Cockroaches, and Paddington. Hair Love, which won Best Animated Short Film at the Oscars, will also be available along with a bunch of other shorts. And they're also going to be doing educational specials such as Sesame Street's Elmo's World News, and brand new movies and shows debuting on the platform. Parents can look forward to the new content every week to keep their children entertained. YouTube Kids will surface all its after-school content every Monday under the platform's shows category, which over the next 5 weeks.
Nice. So, Cale, does any of those names sound familiar to you? The Wiggles? You don't remember the Wiggles? Or Paddington Bear? Anyway, he's 16 now, so he's kind of beyond that, and not sure how his memory works anyway.
Right.
But the Wiggles and Paddington Bear, he used to watch some of those.
I don't think I watched the Wiggles, did I?
Yeah, there were 4 different colored like wiggle worms. They sung songs and stuff.
Those are the Teletubbies.
Oh. Okay, maybe not then.
It was the 4 guys.
Maybe it's my memory going bad.
It was 4 guys that had different color shirts, and they all sang.
I don't know. I was thinking Teletubbies.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, never mind. He's got the good memory. I've got the bad memory. So anyway.
Yeah, the only reason I'm pretty well caught up with a lot of this stuff is that most of these names are pretty popular around our house.
Yeah,
so.
you're in the middle of it with a 4-year-old, so
Yeah.
you're welcome. You'll know all the songs by heart.
Well, I was going to say some of these shows and songs I'm pretty familiar with, so.
Yeah, somebody gave us a CD, Lori Berkner, and then we ended up buying all her CDs, and she sings kids songs.
Mm-hmm.
And man, we used to wear those out. We traveled a lot, and Kale really liked them, and the girls liked them, and they'd sing along with them. But anyway, yeah. So we learned all the Lori Berkner songs. Luckily, they were good songs, and she sings really well and fun. So wasn't torture. But so YouTube TV doing after school. I'm kind of we do after school programs, and ours are more hands-on, get kids outside. So I mean, I see the value of entertaining kids.
Right.
If it were me speaking with my after-school hat on, I would say get your kids outside.
Right.
But as a parent, you don't always have that option.
Right.
If you need them to be entertained, it's great that YouTube's stepping up and doing educational TV, because that's a basis for some kids. They need to go somewhere, and watching TV is part of that now.
Right.
And it always has been. I can remember coming home sometimes and watching, like you said, the after-school specials, PBS and so forth. They always had Captain Kangaroo and Mr. Green Jeans, I think. I don't know. That's probably before your time, but that dates me a little bit there. But
I was going to say the only Mr. I always knew was Mr. Cartoons, which if you're outside of West Virginia, you'd have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, I remember Mr. Cartoon. So so those are the kind of things that sometimes kept me company when I came home as a latchkey kid. So if that's the case here, and you need those services, kudos for YouTube for starting to gear that back up, because I don't know that that's been the flavor for a while. I don't know that there were after-school TV. I think it's kind of just a free-for-all.
Yeah, and granted, YouTube Kids, we have that on our devices for Sadie to watch from time to time. And not only that, they now have a dedicated after-school part.
Right.
That's even better.
Yes.
With the Kids app, what they do is all the content is approved by YouTube that it's kids safe.
Right.
Now, granted, how technology is. Sometimes they're little snafus, but they're pretty top notch on, not letting bad stuff come through the filter. So knowing that they've actually stepped things up and actually offering just an educational section, that's even better.
Yeah, you're right. The safety and security of that is worth its weight in gold. And that's become the norm now. To have your kid, if you need them to be quiet and not interruptive, as they said at your work, for instance, or if you're working from home now, you need them to be quiet so you can finish up your work for an hour. That's a great option.
Right.
Hey, sit here, watch a movie, watch a safe show. I know that it's safe. I know that it's going to be secure, so I don't have to worry, and I can focus on my stuff while your kid's safe watching what they want to watch.
Right.
So, good stuff. All right, kudos to YouTube for stepping in for safety and security for our kids and having that thought process to say this is going to be valuable when school starts. There needs to be a platform for after school.
Right.
And we can help out. So
right.
Helping out in the way they can. Great. Is there anything else attached to that one?
That pretty much covers that one.
Okay, so if you got a little guy or gal and they need some entertainment there after school or any time, it's going to be weird now how to define after school, because if you do virtual learning, you might be mornings, you might be afternoons. So after school could be before school.
Exactly.
Or it could be during the day. It could be any time. So, all right. So story number 2 is. I'm having trouble reading my writing. Kale, you got it? T-Mobile. There we go. Had to call on the producer over here, keeping us straight. So you got an update on T-Mobile, and you're a T-Mobile user now, Sprint/T-Mobile.
Yeah.
So this is personal for you.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. I actually received a text message yesterday saying, now you are a T-Mobile customer. Here's our privacy privacy policies and stuff. And I received that text yesterday, and Cena actually received two from them. So it's like, yeah, it's here.
It's here, yeah. And that's I think the last time we talked, you said nothing would change for Sprint users for a year or two.
Right.
But you were on the T-Mobile platform, so this is an update on that. All right.
Yes. So T-Mobile is reporting that there are plans to dump some of their phones from its network, and they're going to do it even sooner than AT&T. So here's what's going on. T-Mobile is reporting that they're going to require phones to start using voice over LTE or VoLTE starting January of next year. So what that means is if you have an older phone that does not pick up an LTE signal, more than likely it's what they call the feature phones, the flip phones, the little non-smartphones, and some older smartphones. If they don't have LTE...
Hold on, time out.
Okay.
You can still get those kind of phones?
Yes, believe it or not.
Okay, you lost me at the LTE usage where I'm amazed. I cannot believe that there are still the phones that aren't updated that you can still get. I mean, I don't know why I would be stunned by that, but for some reason, I'm baffled. I didn't even know they made those anymore.
Yeah, they still make them. I mean, the market's not as heavy as it used to be, but yeah, there are still feature phones and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay. Glad you cleared that up, because when you first started, I was like, what phone doesn't get 4G now?
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine having a phone that doesn't get 4G.
Well, the 4G is standard in all the phones now.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're actually phasing out all the old phones that only go up to 3G. So starting in January, if you have a phone that does not pick up the 4G LTE signal, they're going to stop. It's going to stop service on the network. And if you want to continue to use T-Mobile as your carrier, you'll have to go buy a new phone.
So here's the crazy next question in my head is, am I so spoiled because I only know about new phones, or am I just so far out of the loop I didn't realize there's that variety of phone?
I don't know, Dave.
I don't either, but it worries me just a little bit because, I mean, my phone's 2 years old now, and I don't upgrade unless I actually have to.
Right.
But that's what bothers me about this scenario is that I'm one of those people that are old school, and I don't have to have the newest. I almost don't like getting a new phone because I don't know how it works.
Right.
And I'm a dedicated Samsung user just because it's the same.
Right.
I don't want change.
Right.
So if I'm that stuck in the mud and I don't know about these, it almost seems to me like you got to be going out of your way to get one of these older phones that doesn't work.
Right.
Or it's not going to work soon.
Right.
So anyway,
well,
that's a philosophical issue that deals with me personally, and I don't know how you could answer that, but I just felt like asking because I was a little stuck there. But anyway, if you're like me and you just blindly go about and get your upgraded phone when you have to, then I assume you're beyond a flip phone anyway.
Right.
But if you're not, if you fit in a different category and you're not, then you got to address it the way Joe's going to tell you to address it here.
Right. So if you have what they call a feature phone, like a flip phone or a non-smartphone, or even if you have an older smartphone, it may not hurt just to stop by your local T-Mobile store or do a little research online. If you're afraid of the salesperson in the T-Mobile store just going to automatically say, oh yeah, your phone's old, you need a new one, just do a quick Google search, look up your brand and model number, and 9 times out of 10 they're either stamped on the back of the phone, or if it's a phone that has a removable battery, take the battery out and it's usually stamped on the inside. Just go to Google, type in your brand, model number, and just type in specs right after that and do a search for that, and then it'll tell you, if it's 3G, 4G, whatever, and then that way you'll have a little knowledge going in, and you may not even have, if you find out that your phone's 4G LTE, you don't have to do anything. There's no additional work involved. And
Kel just pulled up a little article and flipped it out there, and one of the quotes was they learned from AT&T's mistake of coming out too late with the news, and then AT&T emailed everybody with a big bold heading, update needed, and it just scared customers.
Yes.
So T-Mobile's doing it in a better way with more warning,
right,
and so forth. So that's nice. That's good customer service. That's good. Good that they can learn from other people's mistakes and try to alleviate some of that worry and concern, because everybody's phone's important to them. I mean,
absolutely,
it's a lifeline. So, okay. So interesting news.
So I would not be surprised, because I seen something similar to this years ago. My parents had, and Dave, I know that you've seen this. Kel, I don't even know if you've seen this. Kel, have you ever seen what they used to call the bag phone? The original, the older cell phones.
I have one in my room.
Okay, you have the bag phone.
Yeah, one of the blocky ones.
Where'd you get it?
I don't know. It was in my desk.
Oh yeah, that's my original bag phone.
Okay, so you have seen the bag.
He has seen. Yeah, I had
Okay.
one back in 96, 97.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I worked and had a bag phone, so I could because I didn't have a regular phone.
Right. Okay, so
Huh.
my mom and dad had a bag phone for years, to the point where, let's see, who's the carrier? It was 360 Communications, then it was Alltel.
Yeah, I had Alltel.
Alltel sent them a letter in the mail saying, "We're shutting your service off next month if you don't buy a new phone." We're shutting those towers down.
Yeah.
So this is something that's nothing new. This is something that the carriers have done for years,
Yeah.
and it's just to keep up with the newer technology. So don't be surprised if you may get an email or actual letter in the mail from your carrier saying, "Hey, you have an older phone. You may want to look at upgrading."
And if you're not sure what we're talking about, and you're saying, "What in the heck is a bag phone?" A bag phone was this battery that was probably, I don't know, they looked like you're carrying around a little lunchbox or a little purse, but it had a bag in the bottom of it, and it had a cord.
Yes.
Like a regular house phone, it had a cord that you had to keep attached to the bag, obviously, but the battery was massive. And then you plugged it into your car, and then if you wanted good service, you had to have a remote antenna that plugged into the bag and ran through your back sliding glass and up on your roof. And that's just how it worked. And like I remember, I used to have to drive and get up on a hill so I could get service, and then call who I had to call for work and stuff. But that was a bag phone. It was attached to your car. You could not carry it around for the most part.
Well, now Mom and Dad had what they called the
You
mobile
could.
version.
Yeah, I mean I could carry mine around.
Yeah, it looked like a lunch bag, and honestly, the size of the phone. If you work in an office and you're used to your big office phone, that's the size of what these phones were.
And I could carry mine around, but the battery didn't last a long time. And I got worse service because I was not connected to the car antenna.
Yeah.
So it had a little 6-inch antenna. I'd hold the bag up when I'd stand out. If I wasn't in my car, I'd hold the bag up high and try to get it to get better reception. So.
Yeah, I remember when Dad brought it home. We drove to town.
Yeah.
We drove to the post office and parked at the post office and called my granny to say, "Hey, can you hear us?"
Yeah.
Because that was the coolest thing.
I remember the first time I saw a car phone was at college, and one of my rich friends had one, and I was like, "Does this really work?" And we did the same thing. He's like, "Yeah, call somebody." So I called my roommate back at our dorm room on the regular phone.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, can you hear me? I'm calling you from a car. Can you believe it?" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, parked right outside, look at us. And I was standing out there, and I had the phone and was calling him. And the guy's like, "All right, hang up. You're burning up minutes."
Yeah.
Dude. I was like, "All right." So
Yeah. The plans were crazy. It was like,
you got so many minutes.
yeah, 30 minutes a month or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something crazy
And
like that.
And the hard part was if someone called you back, they burn up your minutes too, just calling you back.
Yeah.
So I can remember I wouldn't answer calls because like, daggone it, I don't really need to talk to that person, and they're going to burn up my minutes.
Exactly. So that was when you started. You only gave it out to a select few of people,
Yep.
and it was like somebody better be dying for you to call it.
If you got somebody's answering machine.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if you used 1 second, 2 seconds, it didn't matter. As
Yeah.
soon as that connection was made, it cost you 1 full minute
Yeah.
because they did minute increments.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine that. So that's what I said.
I remember Dad would call Granny if we was on vacation just to check in with her, and like if she didn't pick up on the third ring, it was you just ended the call. She had
Yeah,
3
yeah.
rings to pick up, or
Yep.
we'll try later.
Yeah, because you'd burn up minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to sit there and monitor if I had to leave a message. When I got right up to 59 seconds, I hung up.
Yeah.
So yeah, crazy stuff. Can you imagine that, Cal? I mean, how's that sound to you? If you get 30 minutes a month to use, that's it. Could you make it? Would you survive on that?
And there was no text
I don't call
messaging.
much.
What?
Yeah.
Well, now this was at the time there was no text messaging. It was
Yeah,
either
it had to be called, like FaceTime or whatever you're using. I mean, yeah, there you go. How much time do you spend? Like, how many minutes do you think you used yesterday talking to somebody?
I don't know. Probably at least 60.
Yeah, there you go. At least an hour talking to somebody.
so that you'd be done for the month.
Oh, he'd be done. He'd just use up 2 months.
Yeah, you'd be done for the month. Plus, you'd have like a $400 phone bill coming.
Yeah,
through the
I want to
overage fees.
say it was something outrageous. Like every minute you went over, it was like $2 or $3 a minute.
Yeah,
It was something outrageous.
And then if you roamed, You basically just
I
had.
forgot about
Yes.
that. The roaming fees.
Yeah, the roaming, you pretty much had to
Jeez.
sacrifice your first child.
Yeah, roaming fees are outrageous.
Yeah.
Because you went on someone else's tower and they beat you up.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. Recapping our youth there.
Now things did get a little better, Kel. Then they started the on peak, off peak, where
Yes.
you had from 9 p.m. to like 6 a.m. you could call. You had what they called free nights and weekends.
Yeah.
So from 9 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock next morning, you could call all you want.
Yeah.
And then Saturday and Sunday you could call all you want.
Yeah.
But if you called any time outside those windows, you still had that. Although at that point it was like 500 minutes a month or something like that. I mean,
it got better. Yeah.
Yeah, it got better, but you still had that chunk to keep an eye on.
I do remember that. I would call people after 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And then mainly Cheryl. I'd call my wife Cheryl after 9 p.m. because we could talk longer. Yeah, craziness. How all that worked. I forgot about the roaming part. So, Kel, imagine the concept that you could only use your phone in a certain area. And so if you went out of that area, so for instance, you could use your phone in, say, Charleston, Flatwoods, Morgantown. But if you went to Parkersburg, you were out of your area and you couldn't use your phone unless you wanted to pay like $3-4 a minute. How inconvenient would that be? Or if you went out of state. Going out of state was a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because 9 times out of 10 you was guaranteed.
You're
Now,
roaming.
if you was lucky, when you would drive, you'd just look down at your phone while you're driving. Okay, we're not running here. Mark this place on the map, so if we need to call, we can stop here.
Yeah, you got to go back to get into your area.
Because I remember there would be times we'd go on vacation and Dad would drive around the campground because there were certain spots where it would hit just right, where he'd get signal and it wouldn't roam. So he would say, well, I'm going to make a phone call, I'll be back. And then he'd just drive around in about 15 minutes. Okay, I found a spot at campsite 29.
Yeah.
There wasn't anybody there. He said, I just pulled in, made a call, and left.
Yeah, craziness. Okay, well, that's we went way off track.
Yeah.
I could see Cena shaking her head saying, boys, boys, boys.
Yeah. She's feeling sorry for Kel this morning.
Yeah. Okay, so back on track, T-Mobile. I forgot what the original story was. Oh, older phones.
Yes.
There you go. That's how. Welcome to Wednesday morning. We're talking about older phones. So if you got an older phone, get out of the Stone Ages. Get you a phone that works. Be prepared.
Yeah. So don't be surprised if you get that email or message from T-Mobile saying, "Hey, it's time to upgrade."
Yeah. There you go. Okay, and that's a battle we can't fight. I mean, you just got to get a newer phone that meets technology today, and the benefits are nice. So
right.
It's fine. People will learn. Okay. The third story. Boy, I'm struggling to read my writing today. Kale's going to fix me up. Come on, producer Kale.
Yeah, I can never remember.
Look on the screen. Didn't you put it in the title?
Yeah, but it doesn't show up on here.
Well, I'll go ahead and introduce
Facial
it.
recognition with masks.
Yes.
Man, I'm going to have to get me a new producer over here. Stays afloat with what we're doing. Anyway, yeah, so we're talking. He's bringing up the picture of our show. So 9-second delay, but we're there. All right, so facial recognition and how dealing with masks. This one baffles me when you first said it, and I didn't ask you anything because we started the show, but I'm interested to see where this goes because I don't know that facial recognition affects me or us around here, but I'm sure it does somewhere because it's a news topic you're bringing up. So
right.
Hit me with it.
Okay, so face masks are interfering with even the best facial recognition software. A study by the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology finds. They find that the masks are causing facial recognition algorithms to fail as much as 50% of the time.
I can see that. So I'll ask the main question, and I know your show has a broad range and broad reach. You're nationwide, worldwide, so that'll affect some people in those areas. Does it affect us here locally?
Yeah, it can mess with something simple as, Dave, you probably are completely overlooking your facial recognition on your phone to log in.
Ooh, and yeah, do you do it with computers too?
Yeah, computers, laptops,
So-
tablets, phones.
Right.
So we're not talking just the facial recognition that the government uses when you're walking down the street
Gotcha.
to try to identify you.
Because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
But
I mean it reaches there as well, but it's something simple
as your own phone.
Yeah, your own phone or your tablet.
I did that on my phone for a little bit, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I like the thumbprint better.
Right.
So I got all my stuff on the thumbprint, and that was one of your shows. I can't remember. It's It's redundancy, safety, but you have a technical word for it.
Two-factor.
Two-factor.
Yeah.
There you go. Two-factor login. So I took your advice. I do the thumbprint now, especially on like my Google Pay, my PayPal, stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm learning slowly but surely, Joe.
We're
You're
getting
training
there.
me.
We're getting there.
And now I just need you to train me with some treats. Like you had some sort of, But anyway, different deal. But but okay, so this does strike home for the average person if you use it on your phone, your laptop, and so forth. So okay,
Right.
great, good stuff. Because my first initial reaction was what they're doing with the government, like in China and
Right.
in bigger cities and stuff. So okay.
But yes, so it's funny. They said that these face masks are thwarting even the most advanced facial recognition algorithms.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not talking just the little thing. Even the top of the top of the best of facial recognition software is going.
Yeah. So this could affect both good and bad. So if you're one of those people that don't want your face recognized, I could see this being a whole hullabaloo.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, the masks have a political stigma.
Right.
That's just the way it is. There are some people that are like, this mask, I'm not doing it. It's a hoax, blah, blah, blah. That's got to fall into their wheelhouse, though, of I don't want the government, I don't want Big Brother to know what I'm doing or where I'm going.
Exactly.
But yet I don't believe in the masks, although the mask would throw off 50% of the readings, so...
Yes, that's a catch-22. That's why I was telling you that this is really going to reach people today that, yes, so if you're not wearing a mask because you're not afraid of COVID...
Yeah.
Well, how about you wear your mask to mess with the facial recognition software?
Yeah. So Big Brother can't track you because that's got to be in your toolkit.
Yeah.
If you're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, so you're either in one party or the other. so.
Yeah. The lines just got real blurry.
Yeah.
And if you're already wearing a mask, I assume you don't care whether you have facial recognition or you're not doing it for that reason. So now it's just a bonus.
Right.
So
yeah. So now you have a tool in your tool bag to possibly thwart anybody trying to give you trouble.
Yeah.
The people that give you third degree. Oh, you're just afraid because you're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
No, I'm fighting against facial recognition software.
So now people can switch sides in a hurry without actually having to change anything.
Exactly.
Because I agree. I mean, I wear a mask everywhere just because I'm courteous of others.
Right.
I have, a family member with leukemia, family member had cancer. It's my family members, the older family members aren't in great shape, and I'm in and out of daycares and so forth. So I have a lot of contacts. So I wear a mask to be courteous. It's not a political statement. It has nothing to do with any of that. Just courtesy on my part. I don't have a problem breathing through it. I'm not real pretty anyway, so I assume the mask makes everybody feel better. It has to look at me. So anyway, it's easy, but now I'm just going to say I'm thwarting Big Brother.
Yes.
I don't want facial recognition to take my place. And it's weird because we have cameras in downtown Spencer on our stoplights.
Right.
But they're on timers. Like the lights are on timers.
Yeah, the lights are on
timers. So what
timers.
do the cameras do?
Well,
You may know this.
Well, the cameras and this is what I'm dusting off from years ago.
Yeah.
The cameras came in place in Spencer back in 2001, 2002, right after 9/11.
Right.
It was part of the Homeland Security, and it can be used if someone, let's say, robs the bank.
They They said to monitor traffic and for public safety.
Yeah, so
but they would not be used to like get your license plate to show you're driving through town.
Right. So yeah, if you blow through a red light, you probably they may not do anything, but if you rob the bank, they can say, okay, they left here and they went towards Calhoun County or they went towards Ripley. I mean, there's.
I like how you blame the Hooners right off the bat.
No, I didn't.
I like where your head's at.
I didn't blame them. I did not blame them.
If the bank's robbed, most likely it's a Hooner. That's all we're saying.
No, there's no cell phone coverage much in Calhoun County, so that's why they're heading that way.
I gotcha. So they're smart. Yeah, but I understand, and that's one of the things because I'd asked the mayor one time. I was like, hey, we got these cameras on here. Why am I sitting through a 1.5-minute light when the camera should be able to say no traffic coming the other way? I'm sitting here, light switch.
Right.
And he's like, it doesn't work like that. It's not what they're for. It's not to do anything like that.
Right.
So interesting stuff, but okay. So back on topic.
Yes. So if you don't want Big Brother to look at your face, you can now stand under the red light and wave at the camera.
There you go. With your mask on. Got to have the mask on, and 50% of the time it'll thwart it. So okay, that's interesting stuff. And it does throw a wrench in the whole political mask wearing issue. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. I'm excited just because I feel like it's a little bit of rebel rousing.
Yeah.
Oh, wearing your mask for Big Brother, huh? I'm on board now.
Yeah.
Never mind, we're besties.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, the COVID numbers are going down, and we don't understand why.
Yeah, no coincidence at all. Yeah, I got you. Oh, funny stuff. Okay, well, great news stories as always, Joe. And then again, we'll rehash it at the end. Joe will go back through what you need to know specifically with the T-Mobile one and the YouTube TV if you have kids. Big news is there. So for the tip of the week, I think you're doing another product review.
Yes.
And I have it here. So introduce us to this little gem.
Okay, so last week we did the Wyze Cam. Now this week we are doing another product from the Wyze line, and it's WYZE. And Wyze made a splash with using great technology and making cameras and smart devices at extremely affordable rates. So this week, as Kel's holding up the camera there, this is the Wyze Cam Pan. Now it's very similar to the Wyze Cam we mentioned last week. The one big difference is it pans and tilts, so it will actually spin all the way around, and then the lens on the front you can actually toggle.
The whole box will spin.
Yeah, the whole box will
on
do
its
it.
axis, and then the lens itself will roll as well.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. And and this is your personal one.
Yes, that's my personal one.
So how do you use it? What applications?
We actually use it in our office, and you know the layout of our office.
Yeah, it's kind of L-shaped.
Yeah, so we have it right on top of the refrigerator where it covers 2 of our 3 entrances.
Ah.
So as soon as you come in, it doesn't matter which door you're.
Either door. Yeah. Now, is that do you manually move it, or does it track on its own?
It tracks on its own. One of the features is motion tracking. So if it picks you up, you can turn on motion tracking, and it'll just follow you right through. And it's funny. The first night we got that, you know me, I got to sit there and play with it. So I was sitting at the office. I was turning everything on.
That's kind of your job.
Yeah.
Though, you got to be an expert on technology.
Well, let me rephrase it. I was testing. I wasn't playing. I was testing.
Would Cena agree with that, or?
It depends on the day. It depends on what the product is. So I turned on motion tracking. Never gave it a thought.
Yeah.
Well, the next morning, right before we opened up, the electric went out.
Ooh.
And everything came back up. Well, Cena went on up to the office and was working, and all of a sudden she could hear and it was coming from the refrigerator. And she thought the electric flicker had blew the compressor on the refrigerator. So she was starting to panic. So when I got there, she goes, "I think the refrigerator blew up." I said, "Why do you think that?" "From the electric flicker this morning." I said, "Well, what's it doing?" She said, "It's making a noise."
Right.
And then I heard, I looked on the refrigerator, and that Wyze Cam was sitting there, just moving just an inch in each direction.
Yeah.
What it was is it picked Cena up when she came into the office, and it just followed her right to her desk. And you know where her desk is, right beside the refrigerator
in the corner,
there.
Yeah,
in the corner. Well, it was sitting there watching her, and as she was working, every time she'd move at her desk, it would keep her in the center of the shot. So
so it just kept tracking her little movements.
Yeah, it was moving all morning.
Yeah. She's like, I can't figure it out. Every time I turn, I hear a noise, and I turn because I hear the noise.
And then it stops.
Yeah, then it stops. So Kale's got it pulled up here. Pretty neat little deal. It's tracking a puppy playing in the house, and it automatically detects, tags, and tracks motion. So pretty neat stuff. And it's switching between. Do you only have one? How many do you have?
Yeah, just the pan cam, we have one.
Just one. So it picks up waypoints like windows, I guess you can set, and stairs and doors, so you can set it to specifically look.
Yeah, it does complete 360-degree horizontal rotation, and then with the camera itself, it does 93-degree vertical.
Nice. And just if people aren't familiar, the last show you covered the regular Wyze Cam.
Mm-hmm.
Go through some of the details, like what do you need to have?
Okay, so with these, it's basically as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection in your house, it'll connect to your Wi-Fi network.
Yeah.
With the features of the camera, it has motion tracking, which we discussed. It works with ALEXA, which is Amazon's product, and Google Assist.
I want you so bad to just say that out loud and say volume up and then whatever song.
Well, let's try it. Alexa, volume up 5. You're welcome. Yeah, so let's see how many hate comments we get on that one.
There you go. I was going to say, you got to say, leave a message for user or something. Does it do that too?
Alexa, play Baby Shark, volume up 5.
Nice.
So there you go. Somebody's getting Baby Shark somewhere.
That's good. I like it.
So it also includes night vision, two-way audio. It also includes the free 14-day rolling cloud storage like we had yesterday.
Yep.
Or last week.
Our last show, yeah. And then I see this one also takes a 32 gig card, so you can do local storage.
Yes.
And it's neat. They have theirs mounted at an angle on the wall, and this isn't very big.
No.
Go back to the dimensions there, Cal. So, you got good. I mean, can you read that? Can you read the dimensions? Oh, there you go. Okay, you pulled it up. It's 5 inches tall, 2 inches wide, and 2 inches in depth. So it's roughly a little over 2 inches, two and a third squared, or whatever you want to call it. But 5 inches tall, so it's not very big.
No.
I mean, this is very small for what it does.
So now, last week, the camera was retailed for $19.99. I don't know if you caught the price or not, Dave, but how much do you think this was?
So just to clarify, last week the small little,
Yeah.
about the size of a Rubik's Cube Wyze camera was $20.
Yes.
This one, I saw. I can cheat because Kale pulled up the prices, but pull up the prices again, Kale. So he's showing anywhere from $40 to right around $40.
On the Wyze website, retails for $29.99.
Wow. Okay, Home Depot has it for $38, 37 and change. Chewy.com. It showed use it with your pets. So
Yeah.
Chewy saw them. Okay, yeah. So you guys, is this something you sell at A&M?
No,
Can
not
you get
yet.
these? Okay.
No, but we.
I was gonna say come buy them locally because Joe will have
no,
it. Not
we,
yet.
we've
Okay.
actually we're working with one of the church in Spencer. We're actually going to use this exact model of camera in their baptistry.
Nice.
They're wanting to be able to view it on the TV, just the way their church is laid out.
Yeah.
Not everybody can see it, so we were actually setting this one up on a shelf so then they can have full control
Yeah.
while everything's going on, and then
So you can sit in the back and still see.
Right.
That's a big thing, especially I can see this having a lot of applications. Weddings.
yes,
I mean, everybody wants to see that intimate moment of when you say your vows and you do your first kiss as a married couple and exchange your rings, but nobody wants to crowd up and ruin the moment.
right,
So, boy, you could broadcast it so the people in the back don't have to crane their necks and miss it and still see it.
right, and
So-
be small and
Yeah.
out of the way.
Discreet. Yeah.
Right.
So, awesome stuff. Now, okay, so this is your personal and you use it.
Yes.
Let's start in on the actual list. What are the pros of this jobby?
Okay, the pros, right off the price.
Yep.
For a 10, and this is records in 1080p high definition, so the price is a biggie. The features,
Yeah.
just like the last one, although this one has a little more features with the pan and tilt,
Yeah.
which is even better, and just the quality of the product and the video quality. I mean,
I
it's
still. How much was this?
$29.99.
So $30. How in the world do you get all these features for $30?
I don't have any idea. Either Wyze is very good at their production, or everybody else is just really overcharging.
I find it hard to believe. There's got to be so many moving components. And like I say, I'll use my car as an example. Get a new plastic molded bumper on your car and it's $900 and it's not even painted the color you need it.
Exactly.
But I can buy, I don't know, 50 moving parts and a computer and camera lens that does that good of quality for $30.
Yeah.
That had to be assembled by somebody. Wow. Craziness. I'm just baffled by how that's $30.
Right.
And we talked about this last time. Kale, how many rounds of golf does $30 buy you? Sorry.
2.5.
How many?
2.5.
2.5. So you can get roughly 3 rounds of golf for $30. Or you can buy this camera that does an outstanding job and has a ton of applications in the last. How long did your other one last you? Well, how old's this one?
Oh, well, we've all met at the same time, so we've had them about a year.
So at least a year. So for $30, that's craziness.
I know.
Okay, so as you're saying, your review there, the pros, outstanding buy for $30 for all the features.
Right.
Okay, so keep going.
Okay, so now the cons. I have one con, and this was a biggie for me. I had to break out my toolbox on this one.
Yeah.
The way we have our office set up, we use Netgear Orbeez business grade
Right.
wireless routers. It would not connect to the Orbeez.
Really?
Yes, and I don't know what the issue was. I mean, I spent a couple hours on this.
Well, hold on. So is this both of them wouldn't connect or just this one?
Well, I didn't try the other one on there, but so I did a little research, and they said I guess it's an issue with the Wyze cams themselves for whatever reason, and this is a known issue in the Orbi community that I was late to the party on.
Yeah.
That it is sometimes, for some unknown reason, the Wyze cams just will not connect to the Orbeez. So what I did is I had to make a loophole. I had to install a wireless extender, connect the Wyze cam to the extender, and then the extender transmitted to the main Orbi without any issue.
Really?
Yes.
That's so crazy, but it's good to know that you figured out a solution.
And it's funny, I was listening to another tech podcast last week, and they have a call-in show, and that someone called in with a very similar issue. They was using, I don't think they was using Wyze cams. I think they was using a different branded camera, but they had Eero mesh networks. So it's an issue with these types of cameras and these mesh network setups that for some reason it just can't connect properly. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
That's crazy. Huh. Well, I mean, it's good to know there's a solution in place. Or let me rephrase it. It's good to know you can call somebody that can fix it for you.
You're right.
So keep that in mind. If you're going down this road and you say, all right, these little Wyze cams are the ticket because of the price, product, and the excellent, outstanding deal you're getting, then just know that if you're using Orbi or
any mesh network system, you may run into issues.
And if you don't know what a mesh network system is, good news, because then it'll just work off your regular home internet and you don't have that worry.
Exactly.
And I assume if you have a mesh internet system, you know enough about technology to know what that means.
Yeah, if you have a mesh network, you know it because it's not just buying the $60 router at the store. It's several $100s. Trust me, you would know if you spent that kind of money.
Yeah, and you would know what you needed because it was funny when you were telling me, and I was at your office there a couple weeks ago. You showed it to me just because it was hard for me to wrap my head around how that worked.
Right.
But it is a neat deal, and if you have that specific need, there's that application that'll give you internet service based off of your needs. So anyway, if you're that into it, call Joe and Cena. They'll fix you up. They'll explain what it is and how it works, and they can help you out. And then if you want these cameras, you got to do the loophole Joe's talking about. So you need a technical person involved. The great news is we know that technical person sitting here in the show with me.
Yes.
So Joe and Cena. Okay. So I'm assuming now last week you gave a very, very rare 5-star, all thumbs up, Joe recommended deal.
Right.
Is this going to change?
Yes, this one just slightly. Yes.
Okay.
I had to give this one a 4 out of 5 star.
Okay.
Just because of the issue with the mesh network, in which, as quality of a product as Wyze is making, I feel pretty confident in saying that I would not be surprised if they find a solution to this. I mean, they're too good of a product and a company, from my experience, for them not to. So,
well, let me ask you, what percentage of internet providers out there would be a mesh network, do you think, in your opinion? I mean, I'm asking you to give hard numbers on something that's not.
The internet service providers themselves will not set up a mesh network.
Right.
So it's a 0% chance. The only way you'll get a mesh network inside your home is if you install it yourself. And for those of you saying, well, keep talking about this mesh network. What is it? Is it important to me? What a mesh network is if you have Wi-Fi inside your house and you have dead spots. Well, what you can do with a mesh network is you can buy additional what they call satellites and put those throughout your house, and you don't have to string a wire to them.
Right.
Now, this is a little different than what the inexpensive wireless extenders are, because if you use a wireless extender, what it does is it picks up the signal and then rebroadcasts it, which there is a small amount of slowdown going between the two.
Right, it degrades on the farther you go away. Right,
with the mesh network, they have bigger antennas. They might have more horsepower into the hood, so you can sit at the farthest end of the house on the last repeater inside your house, and you're getting the same quality and strength and speed as you would be if you sitting right at the main box. You cannot tell a difference.
And that's what you showed me. You use it because your office is close to your house, but not close to your house.
Right.
And this works for you because that way you can get it on parts of your property that you need internet service without running wires and all the trouble.
Yeah.
And you're not losing, like you said, the strength.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of working smarter, not harder. And the whole idea of digging a trench and laying conduit and running network cable just was not my idea of fun.
Yeah. Well, or the need, you can do this much easier.
Right.
So that's the mesh network. So if you're in that part, then that's, I'd say, how small a part of. I mean, is there anybody around Spencer that has?
Yes, believe it or not, we've actually set up a few customers.
Okay, so
with them. So yeah, it's
a very small percentage.
Well,
then.
and that's what you and I are working on with our announcement. So I didn't know if you wanted to discuss that here in a couple minutes.
We'll do another show. We'll do another show. That's because we're still.
And, okay.
You haven't educated me enough to be knowledgeable to ask the right questions.
Okay.
So rather than appear like a knucklehead on this show, I'll wait and do it very clearly in another show.
Perfect.
That way I won't tie you to my knuckleheadedness.
There you go.
But yeah, good point. So yeah, we got some stuff in the works where you're going to fix us up, and but we got
big news is coming.
Yeah, big news. So we're excited about how that's going to work and what that's going to do for our community. And actually, it's a good call because we need to tie that too with some people that are helping us out on that news. So you've made it really easy for people to help us out with funding to accomplish this mission. How close are we?
I stopped when I came to the office yesterday. I saw boxes coming in. So we might be
close then.
Yeah,
next week.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to do a special show. So for those of you faithful followers of Help Desk with Joe, we're about to ramp it up a little bit here in our local community, and this is something that'll be paramount for everybody across the nation. I mean, it could, if you're, I'll drop one hint. If you're serious about your child's education, or if you're on the administrative side like I am, where you're serious about helping kids, if they need to do virtual schoolwork and stuff like that, and you're in a rural, remote area like us, this is going to be a game changer.
Yes, absolutely.
And so Joe's worked this out for us, and we're meeting a need in our community. So anyway, that's all the hint you get. You have to tune into our next show, and it'll be a special show just for this. Okay, so back to the poor Cena. She's probably thinking, boy, there are days when I wish I was there to smack you in the back of the head to get you back on topic, but then again, there's days I'm sure she says, I'm glad I'm not there.
Yeah, she'll probably be getting Kel's cell phone number for too long. Texting Kel, you need to get the guys back on track.
Yeah, what is your job exactly here, Kel? Yeah. You know, as producer, that's kind of falls within your role of keeping the show going in the direction it's supposed to. And watch it like it. You don't even give us time warnings anymore.
Yeah, there's no controlling you guys.
You used to throw out there, you're 30 minutes in, you're 10 minutes over, wrap it up. I don't even get those messages now.
I think he's finally gave up on it.
Just gave up. It's not worth his trouble. Is that how you feel, that it's not even worth you wasting the time to time it now?
Yeah.
Just get a standard yeah. When did you stop worrying about that? It seems like months now.
Pretty much.
I can't even remember the last time you gave me the warning blip. Did you consciously decide to do that, or you just got tired of messing with it?
Yes.
D, all the above.
Yeah. So do you? So let me ask you, Kel, on this end, with all the topics we went through today, did any of those make you stop and think about them, or does it not affect your deal?
Yeah, I don't think it affects me.
Okay, so that's something that I find interesting, is a 16-year-old that is technologically driven. So it didn't interest you in the bag phone and the history of that. You have no interest in the YouTube TV because you're beyond that age. T-Mobile, you're not a T-Mobile user, so you don't care about that either. Face recognition, any of that affect you at all? Don't care?
I use my fingerprint.
Okay, you use fingerprint, so yeah. So okay. Thanks for the update. I get the update now. 48 minutes, Joe. Thanks, producer Kale. You're on the job. Okay, anyway, so for those of you that are new to this, or maybe this is you're just tuning in now, Kale is 16, and he works here in our job skills program for Patch, and he produces our video shows for Facebook, and then he does our radio station and also all these shows. So we have a 16-year-old sitting behind the computer controlling it all, Joe.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. It's one of those days where, you look back and you say, okay, it's hard for me to fathom a 16-year-old having the duties of running a radio station, podcast, and our Facebook Live broadcast. But then again, having a 16-year-old do it because they're very tech savvy, they're digital native.
Right.
This is all they've ever known.
Right.
Is also reassuring. So on one hand, it's kind of scary that you have that much a power in a 16-year-old's hands and control, and then on the other end, it's pretty daggone amazing.
Right. And from my standpoint, I think it's funny where literally the tables have turned because it's, years ago when all this started, Kel was the one in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And Cena and I was one behind doing
doing
this.
that job. Now
so
we've
reversed roles. I'm sitting here doing the talking, and Kel's doing all the grunt work.
I did not think about that, but yeah, you and Cena did after school programs with us. What was the name of your show?
5 Minutes Outside.
Yep.
That's right, 5 Minutes Outside with Kale. And so you did a neat little show and talked about your adventures outside each week. Do you remember any of your topics that you talked about? I remember you had your RC car in here once.
I did hunting with JD at one point.
That's right, hunting shows, and you did motorcycle because you used to race motorcycles pretty heavy. Anything else? You guys, you had JD come in, JD Painter, and you guys did trapping. So anyway, interesting stuff.
Yeah, if you want to see Kel's original content, it's youtube.com/rcpatch21. That if you want to, and just make sure you sort by old to new, and you can find all the old original Kel content there.
Wow. Do you remember how old you are? What grade you're in?
You're
You're probably elementary school.
Let's see.
Anyway.
I'm pulling it up right.
2012, so it's 8 years ago.
Yeah, so you're 7 and 8 years old and you're doing shows.
Yeah, 5 Minutes Outside with Kel was 7 years ago. That was the very first episode.
So you're right, Joe. It is kind of crazy thinking that terms that 5 through 7 years ago, you were behind the computer, he was in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And now we've reversed roles.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, I did one with Zane about winter basketball.
Ah, that's right. I remember that.
November 29th, 2012, the very first episode.
Yeah, 2012. Jeez Louise. So, how times change. Do you feel better being on this side of the deal, Kale?
I don't have that squeaky of a voice anymore, so yeah.
This is true. You did have a squeaky voice, but it was cute. You're a little guy doing videos with bad hair and missing teeth. So I don't know that the hair's changed a whole lot, but at least you got all your teeth.
Yeah, that's a plus.
Yeah, and now you're not in front of the camera. How ironic.
It's almost like that was by design, Dave.
Yeah, I know. Better put your mask back on. Anyway, all right. So enough messing with Kale, but yeah, it's interesting how the times have changed, and Joe, how you and Cena have taken with your business, A&M Digital Technologies. How old's your business now?
It will be 10 years next month.
10 years?
Yeah. So it's crazy to think that we've been in business for 10 years.
Yeah, and you've done so much in our community, from producing shows for our after-school program, working with at-risk kids to let them learn technology and videos and disseminate local news. I remember you guys did news shows. You did how to play board games, because that's a big issue now, to science experiments across the board.
Yeah, and there may have or may not have been some minor property damage from some of the science experiments, but very minor, but still, the kids loved it.
Some messes made, but that's okay. That's part of working with kids. So we've kind of transformed now to we're still doing video broadcasts, but Kel runs those.
Right.
And then you guys have set up our internet radio and so forth, so in the podcasting part. So as soon as we get through this COVID stuff, I'm excited to bring back the other podcasts and get them back rolling with the community news. That's so amazing. So, okay. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up because I know we're biting into an hour's worth of time here. And, Joe, we appreciate your time. And this is a great weekly podcast and show here just based around technology. Great review. So if you have any questions, you need to get hold of Joe and Cena. How do they get hold of you?
You can give us a call at our office at 304-927-3588. Check out our website at amdigitaltechnologies.com or follow us online. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at AM Digital Tech for all that. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, Help Desk with Joe and Dave. Leave us a 5-star review. We're on all the major platforms. And I think that pretty well covers this week.
Okay, well, we'll let our 16-year-old student executive producer here roll us out. So, Kale, we'll turn it over to you, buddy.
This is Kel, and you've been listening to Help Desk with Joe with Patch Turned Up. Stay tuned in for more podcasts, music, news, and updates from our Patch students. Patch, community and children first. This concludes our Facebook broadcast. You've been watching Help Desk with Joe. We'll be back with more shows. Make sure you tune in and join us next time.